be your Junior Nation, but your friends and #1 fans are. Sorry you're not here.
Merry Christmas, race fans. Welcome to my little show about motorsports and stuff I like to call the In the Pits Year-End Special with me, StockCar Scott. And let's see if we can zoom out here. And Daphne. Daphne's here for this episode. So, here on YouTube for the holiday season, you know, just because we felt like it. And first off, I would like to thank the Honey Badger, Andy Soul, for the bit before the opening of this episode. Seems while visiting the home of NASCAR, Andy stopped by at Junior Motorsports gift shop and was able to convince one of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s aunts on his father's side to say hello to StockCar Scott, even though it's a little hard to say. So thank you and hello to Dale Jr.'s aunt, and thank you again to the Honey Badger. You a little shy there, baby? Yeah. Anyway, so where should I start with this episode of In the Pits? Well, for me, my interest in motorsports started with NASCAR, and it still dominates my sports time when it comes to how I wish to be entertained. Of course, we are currently in the off season, so I have to find other ways to be entertained, but this show is supposed to be mostly about motorsports. So, you know, NASCAR was interesting this past season with me not really having a favorite driver as of yet, but I enjoyed how it all began with the new Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 winning its very first outing in the NASCAR Cup Series when Austin Dillon in the number 3 was victorious in the 60th running of the Daytona 500 back in February. From there, things didn't go well for the Camaros. The Ford Fusions and those Kentucky Devil cars cleaned up for most of the season until late in the summer, when my brother's new favorite got his first Cup win at Watkins Glen in the Hendricks Camaro. Chase Elliott went on to win 2 more times in the playoffs, but unfortunately he did not make it to the Final Four. But he did get elected by the fans as the favorite driver, replacing Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the first time in well over a dozen years. And now my brother can learn what it is like to be a fan of the most popular driver in NASCAR for a change. Merry Christmas. As long as Chase Elliott continues to win, though, that's just not really a problem. And Merry Christmas to my other brother there. His favorite got 8 wins this year in the Stewart-Haas number 4 Ford Fusion, which will be a Mustang next year. And Kevin Happy Harvick finished 3rd in the last race at Homestead, and 3rd in the Monster Cup Energy Series final point standings. Of course, the Toad finished 4th in his number 18 M&M's Devil car, and in the last race ever for the Furniture Row Racing number 78 team, Martin Truex Jr. finished 2nd in the Homestead race and runner-up in the championship points. That leaves the winner of the race and the championship at Homestead, as well as many of the other race series I watch on TV. The NASCAR championship and final race were won by one in the same. In this case, the Joker Logano. I understand many race fans were not at all pleased with the outcome, but he raced by the rules, and that was the outcome. Daphne didn't like it. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s driver in Xfinity Series, Tyler Reddick, did the same thing the day before there on Saturday when he beat out Cole Custer. Daniel Hemrick, who I really like because he is such a nice young man, and Christopher Bell, the odds-on favorite. This gave Junior Motorsports a third Xfinity Drivers' Championship, even though Reddick will be moving on over to Richard Childress Racing to fill in the Xfinity seat vacated by Daniel Hemrick as he moves up to the number 31 Camaro in the Monster Energy Cup Series for 2019. My wish would be that Childress would change the number, because that number 31 has not had a great deal to celebrate over the years. Yeah, there has been a few wins for Robbie Gordon and Ryan Newman, but the number 31 has never really been a championship chase contender since its inception 2 decades ago. Maybe it's time for a change. May I suggest, well, number 8? Yeah, number 8. That'd be a good one. The theme of the final race being won by the championship driver continues with the last race of the Camping World Truck Series, which becomes the Gander Outdoor Truck Series in the coming season. When on Friday night before Thanksgiving, young Brett Moffitt won the race at Homestead, Florida, as well as the championship. But unfortunately, Brett only came to the number 16 Tundra with a seat load of talent. So he will be replaced at Shigi Hattori Racing by Natalie Decker, who comes with a bunch of funding. The runner-up in the Camping World Truck Series driver points, Noah Gregson, the winner of the Snowball Derby here earlier this month, will be moving on to the Xfinity Series, filling the seat vacated at the end of the season at Junior Motorsports by the retiring Elliott Sadler. While the other 2 of the top 4 in driver points, Justin Haley and Johnny Sauter, will be returning to run for another truck championship. In another series I watch on TV, the ARCA Series, though the championship was pretty much decided by the last race, the points leader, Sheldon Creed, still dominated as he had done through the season to win the final ARCA race of 2018 at Kansas. Hopefully more live races on the ARCA schedule will be available on outlets that I can access next year. That would be nice. Excuse me while I get me a drink. In the last big racing series I enjoy watching on TV, the championship driver won the last 2 events at the Grand Prix of Brazil and Abu Dhabi to win the F1 World Championship for a 5th time. Yep, now my favorite F1 driver, Lewis Hamilton, is in rarefied air with 73 Grand Prix victories and 5 F1 titles. Seems now this English motorsports hero is just racing the record books. I really enjoyed watching uninterrupted coverage this season on the ESPN2 broadcast of the races. Hopefully this will continue into next season, but I haven't heard anything definitive as of yet. Oh yeah, and there was the Indy Racing League Championship for this year. It was won by Scott Dixon. He finished 2nd to Ryan Hunter-Ray in their last race at Sonoma. Next year, all of those Indy Racing League races, including for the first time the Indianapolis 500, will be on NBC or the NBCSN affiliates. Hopefully they won't conflict with NASCAR too much during the second half of the season. because if you haven't figured out yet, NASCAR is my priority. Like I said earlier, NASCAR is where I began to seriously watch racing, and my interest in all other forms of motorsports comes from first being a NASCAR fan. That means if I was not a fan of NASCAR, I doubt I would be a fan of the local racing that I now enjoy so much living up here in the Northwest. Speaking of the Northwest, there were a few local championships to be earned up here in regional racing series. Closest to me in Seattle, the only locally NASCAR sanctioned track is Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. And this year's track champion is probably my favorite super late model racer now from up here. The name's Tyler Tanner, and as I have said before, it's because he is the only driver I have first seen race up here. Then I went to see in a race at my all-time favorite racetrack at Talladega Superspeedway in my sweet home of Alabama. I don't know if Tyler plans to race here next season. I have seen he is still trying to get something going back east with his racing career. Hopefully his Washington State Super Late Model Championship, along with his past Camping World Truck starts, will look good on his racing resume. Tanner wasn't the only Super Late Model champion at Evergreen Speedway. Donnie Wannett won the limited Budweiser Crown series of races also at that track. Another big Super Late Model champion up here was Brittany Zamora with her second Northwest Super Late Model Championship there. This, along with being NASCAR Rookie of the Year for the state of Washington, seems to have opened a few doors for this budding racing star. Hopefully we'll be hearing good things from this young driver in the future. I haven't seen her plans for the upcoming season, but hopefully we will still get to see Brittany's talent on display on one of our local ovals. Another local late model champion I hope to see next season is Garrett Huffines, who won this year's West Coast Late Model Series Points Championship, beating out series veteran Andy Beeman. Why I say hope is because Garrett won't be defending his title in the West Coast Late Model Series, as my favorite regional late model series will be taking a hiatus in 2019 to regroup and refocus on providing a series for budget late model racers in the future. I hope the West Coast Late Models return in 2020 as an alternative series to the high-dollar Super Late Model Tour with an affordable, unified Pro Late Series. That would be nice. And remember, the West Coast Late Models, after Spokane canceled their track season last spring, provided their events for Yakima Speedway, making feature late model races available when that track reopened last summer. Unfortunately, the West Coast Late Models will not be back at Yakima Speedway this season, but the new schedules are out, and Yakima will have late models on several of their racing dates. Also, the Apple Cup will return in spring of 2019 with Legends, Hobby Stocks, late models and super late models, as well as the Fall Classic scheduled for early October with mini stock, hobby stock, late model, and super late model events for the traditional end of the Northwest racing season. In fact, all of the major racing schedules are already out, so you can start filling in your calendar now. I have all of the local racing schedules for the regional asphalt tracks in Washington posted on both of my Facebook pages for StockCar Scott and In the Pits with StockCar Scott if you need them. Okay, I'm going to take a little break here and inject some old commercials. I'm not getting paid anything for showing. Enjoy the nostalgia. I am sure you'll understand the connection.
And this is just the beginning. The action, the go, the fun of miniature racing with a completely new, full line of Autorama accessories, featuring the exclusive new Gilbert Jump Chicane. Watch. In slow motion, it's up and go. And check these accessories. Gilbert's official automatic timer, controlled by the car. Dual lap counter. A full assortment of the strongest, most powerful, most durable, longest-lasting cars on the miniature roads today. Watch them go. Over the hump bridge, past the grandstand, through the intersection, and straight back up to the Gilbert Jump Chicane. Only this time it's up, and in midair the cars change lanes. These exciting Autorama features are housed in dramatic new Autorama packages, like this.
It's Speedline! It's Aurora! Drag set! Stunt set! 2-in-1 set! 2 cars! 2-lane track! Race cars! Stunt cars! Power! Finger power! Speedline cars! Speedline track! Speedline Super Looper! Look at the box! Extra cars under $1 each. Aurora! Aurora!
Okay, that wasn't too bad, was it? If you are a race fan, as I hope you are, you probably played with similar toys when you were younger. You know, like last week. Back to racing and my favorite track, South Speedway. The last night of racing there was superb with 9 divisions of racing, and if I was going to pick my favorite racing event of this past season, that would have to be it. A few of their points champions from that night include Riley Watson in the super late models, Kevin Carver in the late models, Robert Clark in the legends, Zach Florick in the hobby stocks, who took his trophy back home to his van down by the river, and Kyle Matthews in the mini stocks. And at this time, I would like to give a special shout out to newlyweds Lori and Ken Legault here, because Ken is a regular in the South Sound Speedway mini stocks. You would know Ken as the driver of the number 22 PT Cruiser, and he finished 3rd in the mini stocks this past year, but first in the heart of Lori last month as they started their life together as husband and wife. Congratulations, you two kids. I look forward to seeing you two lovebirds this spring when racing starts up again at South Sound Speedway. I also look forward to seeing a big serving of chili cheese fries at my favorite track, where I often say, come for the food, stay for the racing. But until next spring, I've been trying to keep myself busy and make myself useful. There has been a new TV show of sorts on Discovery Network that I've been trying to watch. It started out on Sunday nights on the Discovery Channel at the end of October, but went away after only 3 episodes, even though it was scheduled according for more on the on-demand menu there. It is now supposed to be on some Discovery Go app, but luckily for me, a couple of new episodes have appeared on the on-demand on my Xfinity box so I can watch it on TV. By the way, the show is called Race Night at Bowman Gray and is a continuation of sorts of the Madhouse show from several years ago on A&E. Many of the same drivers are featured this go round, and since I don't know the outcomes of any of the races, I can enjoy the show for what I appreciate, a broadcast of a race I haven't seen. It's not much, but it helps get me through this seemingly interminable off season. I also have Alabama Crimson Tide National Championship playoff football, but that will only distract me for a couple of days. Roll Tide, roll. The rest of the time between now and the Rolex 24 at Daytona near the end of January is nothing but a vast television wasteland to suffer through, because as y'all know, I'm just a race fan. And once racing returns next year, I will be watching, because all races matter. And with that, I only have one more of my catchphrases to work in before the show ends. But the positive of the TV wasteland is it gives me plenty of time to work on editing this stack here of old high 8 videotapes that are full of regional racing from back in 2010, 2011, and 2012. And I need to get those races posted on my YouTube channel for everybody to watch. I've been discovering all sorts of racing in those throwback tapes, and I will be posting all I can between now and next season, because all those races matter. And now, I hope all you race fans have time to watch a few of the videos, like folks have over 172,000 times over the past 4 years there on my channel. Thank you to race fans for all those views. I appreciate every one of them. Also, before I leave you for the year, I want to give another special shout out and thank you to Terry and Jeff of Late Model Monday and Northwest Race Report for allowing me to be a guest this past fall on the show that they stream live on Facebook. Thank you both. Thank you both very much. Okay, I'd say it's time to wrap this puppy up. Put a bow on this present to my family and friends. So, this has been the year-end holiday version of my little show about motorsports and stuff that I like to call the In the Pits year-end special, with me, StockCar Scott, here on the YouTube for the holiday season, just because I felt like it. So please enjoy enjoy your off time. Please join me next season out at our favorite local tracks and on my YouTube page. Maybe even subscribe to it. That way you can enjoy the racing I post here on StockCar Scott at YouTube.com. And you never know, I might even do more episodes next year of In the Pits. You know, when I feel like it. Until then, here is the last catchphrase. That's about 24 minutes. You ain't never getting back, so have a Merry Christmas. Spend it with those you hold dear. Hope to see you next racing season. Have a Happy New Year. TTFN.